would be for your business, and then look at each of those 5 individuals and say, who do they know? Now, if you're on LinkedIn, this makes it so easy for you. Because if you connect with people who you trust on LinkedIn, you can look at their networks and you can see who they could introduce you to. If you know who your ideal referrals are, who you most want to meet, you can type their name into LinkedIn, you can do a search, and it will tell you who in your network knows those people. So immediately you know who to ask for what referral. And then the other key part of it is track the business that comes in. So again, this is a very simplified version, but if you track what they've promised you or what you've asked for, when they've passed the referral, how you thank them, what feedback you've given them, and when it's converted to business. What I found was very interesting when I worked with the banks was that I'd get them to do an exercise in the middle of the day where they would go out and they would phone 3 or 4 people who were on their list. And they would phone people. In fact, there's someone calling right now. And they would phone people, and these were people who, in some cases, that had referred them a lot of the times in the past, but then they'd forgotten all about them. Referrals had dried up and they just slipped off their radar. And the feedback came from these people, well, actually, I thought you'd left the bank, or I thought you'd moved on. And they'd just written them off and moved on to the next person. If you keep a system like this, you can see when the referrals stop coming. And you can ask yourself, what am I doing differently? Have I become complacent? Have I stopped inspiring them? Do I need to find a new way to inspire them? Have I not fed back and said thank you for the referrals they've received? So you can keep a track of it. Having a system makes all the difference, and all of a sudden the business starts flowing in. I had a phone call this morning just before leaving the hotel and coming here. And the phone call was from a colleague of mine who's a fantastic speaker, and she's been speaking at a separate conference this week, and she was at that conference yesterday. And she phoned me to say, I spoke with the conference organisers. Now, those conference organisers, they run events for people in the professional services industry. And she said, you know, with all these bankers and solicitors and accountants here, you need to do something on networking. And the guy said, yeah, you're probably quite right. And she said, you need Andy Lopata. And the guy said, well, Molly, if you recommend him, that's good enough for me. So she phoned to tell me this, and she said, I'll send you an email with his contact details. And can you guess what I asked her next? Is he expecting my call? And she said, yes. And she emailed me within a minute. So I know that tomorrow I can phone this guy and I can get myself booked, pretty certainly, for next year. Now, that wasn't an accident. It wasn't an accident, because it wasn't the first time in a long time I've spoken to Molly. In fact, I talk to her regularly, and I spoke to her about 4 days ago. And in that conversation, she said, what sort of introductions are you looking for? And I know Molly does a lot of work in professional services. So I told her about what I was doing in professional services. She said, you know what, I'm speaking at a conference this week, and it's all the banks and all the solicitors and all the accountants come along. I should recommend you. And I said, can you do me a favour? Can you refer me? And can you get them to expect my call? It's a simple strategy, but it works. It drives in the vast majority of my business. As a young and a small business, we've worked with some of the biggest names in business, both in the UK and worldwide. We've developed the business internationally already at a young stage, and it's all come through the relationships we've built and through the referrals. And you can be doing the same with your business. If you don't have that strategy in place, then you need to put it there absolutely right now. If you want a copy of that referral book, then please get in touch. My website's there. I also have the newsletter there, which is free with lots of tips. So please feel free to get in touch or contact me on SpotMe before we all leave today. But do follow this up, and please put that strategy into place, because without it, all you're going to get is people spreading the bad news about your business. You're going to get the people who want to talk about wanting to throw the television set out of the hotel room window. They want to talk about what they want to do to your business, and it's not nice. But if you put a proactive strategy into place, it can be very, very different. I always finish with a paraphrase of a Baden-Powell quote that I read years ago, and it makes absolute sense when you look at your networks. If you want a successful business in 1 year, grow wheat. If you want a successful business in 10 years, grow trees. But if you want a successful business for life, grow people. Thank you very much.